comical. Like, he puts pressure on guys without throwing too many punches, and then starts to figure holes out, and the way he can explode and move in with one shot, my God.
Yeah, he very explosive. He's very explosive, man.
You see that truck, man? Wasn't for this music.
Work hard, sacrifices, discipline, time away from my family. How you gonna be?
To a guy, what's a guy to a non-believer who don't believe in?
You finna see the champ at his goddamn best of the best of the best of the best.
Will he make it out alive? Alright. I'm searching the why.
I promise you, none of these niggas gonna beat me. None of them. I'm gonna make an example out of Tio. That's the only thing I love.
New York is a problem. Yes, sir. You know, put these two killers in the same bill. Woo!
This shadow boxing. 14 rounds all together. With that, then my sit-up.
Joe Rogan just compared Shakur Stevenson to Floyd Mayweather. And honestly, that might be the most important thing said about boxing this year. Because when someone who's analyzed thousands of fights, someone who doesn't throw around compliments casually, makes that comparison, you need to pay attention. We're not talking about potential anymore. We're talking about a fighter who's already operating at a level that has legends taking notice. And with the Teofimo Lopez fight coming up, everything Shakur's been building toward is about to be put to the ultimate test.
Bitch, I'm up.
In this field,
Yeah, to the end of the field.
not
right
to the
there.
cone.
Not to the cone, to the other side of the field, yes.
Okay.
To the end of the other side of the out of bound line. You play football. Come on, you play JV.
Then you come back to the
Looking
cone.
great. Breathing is good. He's handling the load good. Got a nice spring. We got a good spring and good push. Good first step. I like where we are. And we still got a month, baby.
Here's what caught Rogan's eye, and it's something most casual fans completely miss. Shakur's dedication isn't just about showing up to the gym. It's about the obsessive attention to detail that separates good fighters from generational talents. Every aspect of his game, from his training camps to his ring IQ, screams perfection. Rogan wasn't just watching another prospect when he analyzed Shakur. He was watching someone with what he called otherworldly awareness. Think about that phrase for a second. Otherworldly awareness. That's not something you say about a fighter who's just talented. That's what you say about someone who sees the game differently than everyone else. Shakur doesn't just react to what's happening in the ring. He's already 3 moves ahead, controlling every second, dictating the pace, and making his opponents fight his fight whether they realize it or not.
Shell since Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
His defense was incredible.
Yeah, defense, and he stayed. And that guy was putting the guy from Golden Boy. I can't remember his name. Who he fought, but was just a good fighter and was really pressuring him. And Shakur stayed in the pocket.
Yeah,
he stayed in the pocket.
He also said he's not
calling him a runner before.
Anymore.
He's not a runner. Yeah,
but he said after that fight, I'm not going to fight that way anymore. He said I took too many shots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he wanted to like put on a show and show everybody he's not just a runner. He could stand.
But here's where Rogan's analysis gets absolutely wild. He said Shakur's execution of the Philly shell defense is the best he's seen since Floyd Mayweather Jr. Let that sink in. Since Floyd F***ing Mayweather. That's not just praise, that's putting Shakur in the conversation with one of the greatest defensive fighters who ever lived. And Rogan didn't stop there. He kept coming back to this unnerving calmness that Shakur displays when punches are flying at his head. Most fighters tense up, duck, cover, panic. Shakur, he looks zen-like under pressure. There was this one fight where his opponent was pressing him hard, trying to walk him down, put him against the ropes. Everyone expected Shakur to move, to circle, to box from distance like most slick fighters do. Instead, he made a conscious decision to stay in the pocket and prove a point. This wasn't fear or getting trapped. This was Shakur sending a message to every critic who calls him a runner. He wanted to show the world that he can stand right in front of you, absorb pressure, and still completely control the fight. That's a different level of confidence right there.
Set this fight up, and I honestly did it because I wanted to push myself. I know that Teo is a tremendous fighter. I know he's on an extremely high level, and I feel like, well, I know that I can beat him, but I know that this should be a tough set, so I'm ready.
Who were some of the other options you had?
Lamont Roach.
That would have been a real good fight, man. But I mean, Teo, he's a bigger name though, so I see why you went with him.
Yeah, bigger name, and also he got the more accolades. He's been undisputed before. He's won belts at 35, won belts at 30, at 40. So he's more accomplished. So I know that would be a better name on my resume.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that this is gonna be a tough fight for you.
I mean, they absolutely right to have their opinion. I already know this guy's good. I done came up in the amateurs with him. I chose this for that reason. Like, I chose this because I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to put myself in a situation to where I'm able to raise my game up to another level. So that was my whole purpose.
And get this, we're not just talking about some hyped prospect here. Shakur is a legitimate Olympic medalist who proved himself on the highest international stages before even turning professional. When you hear that kind of pedigree, that level of achievement, it solidifies everything. This isn't manufactured hype or promotional nonsense. This is elite-level skill backed by results. He's not just good, he's elite, through and through. But here's what makes this upcoming fight with Teofimo Lopez so fascinating. Shakur actively chose this fight. This wasn't some accident or the only option available. Shakur specifically wanted Teofimo because he understands that Lopez is genuinely dangerous, incredibly skilled, and has experience at the highest levels. For most fighters, that combination would be terrifying. For Shakur, it's exactly what he's looking for. He's not coming into this thinking he might win. He already believes with every fiber of his being that he will win. But beyond that victory, he recognizes this matchup will force him to level up mentally and physically. This is about growth, evolution, and proving his worth against the absolute best.
Do you feel like you got to be real dominant in this fight? Because I mean, Teo, he from New York, and you having a fight in New York, and the judges, man, you never know, yo.
He not from New York, but he not from New York. He not from New York. He probably was born in New York, but like being from New York is like I'm raised and I'm brought up in New York, and I known him for years and years, and I always seen him out of Florida. Like that's where he was out of, Florida. So I don't look at him like a fighter that's from New York. So, but do I gotta be dominant? I think every fight that I set up, I want to be dominant. I don't care who in front of me. I want to dominate. I want to beat you to where judges don't feel like they can rob me. So I always got that feeling. I always got that chip on my shoulder.
Now listen to this part, because Shakur's mindset reveals everything about what kind of fighter we're dealing with. His goal isn't just to win fights. His goal is to dominate opponents so completely that the judges' scorecards become irrelevant. Think about that philosophy for a second. He's aiming for such decisive victories that there's no room for debate, no question marks, no controversial decisions. He doesn't want close rounds or nail-biting finishes. He wants total, undeniable control from the first punch to the final bell. And if you're wondering where this intensity comes from, it's fueled by a constant chip on his shoulder. That internal fire isn't something he just conjures up for big names like Teofimo. It's an intrinsic part of who he is as a fighter, a perpetual source of motivation that keeps him pushing for perfection every single time he steps in the ring. This isn't about proving himself to fans or media. This is about proving to himself that he belongs among the all-time greats.
If you do win this fight, what do you think it does for your career?
I think it put me top 5 pound for pound. I think it puts me like one of the best fighters in my era. I think it just established that I'm that guy. Like, I beat one of the four kings that they call the four kings, and it also depends on the fashion that I do it. So it's gonna be interesting.
But what be going on with this Tio dude though, man? I be seeing these videos online of him making racist comments. You be seeing that, man?
I think he's an attention seeker. So even with the racist comments, even with the homo stuff that he was doing, I think he's just a big attention seeker. He gonna do anything to get attention on him. And
But wait, it gets even better when you hear Shakur's take on Teofimo's antics outside the ring. Shakur firmly believes that Teofimo engages in theatrical behavior purely for attention, sometimes deliberately crossing lines just to keep his name in headlines and stay relevant in boxing conversations. Here's the kicker, though. Shakur has this deeply held conviction that this kind of behavior inevitably comes back to bite you when it's time to actually fight. All the trash talk, the theatrics, the media circus, it means absolutely nothing when those cage doors close. For Shakur, January 31st represents this almost sacred moment where all the talking stops, where speculation ends, and where everything gets settled decisively in the ring. No more words, just action. And honestly, there's something terrifying about a fighter who views combat with that kind of clarity and purpose. While his opponent is playing mental games and trying to get under his skin, Shakur is already visualizing victory.
I'm moving up to 140. A lot of these guys could say a lot of things about me not knocking them out or whatnot, but they don't come and try to fight me after they feel this power. So it's for a reason. It carries. It does carry. I mean, I had a good showing with Arnold Barboza. He was #1, my mandatory, and he didn't. He was too hesitant trying to commit to punches. So I think that it's just something that's going to be a rude awakening for Shakur.
Hold up, though, because Teofimo Lopez wasn't about to let Shakur's comments or rumors about his power fading go unchallenged. Especially regarding his performance at 140 pounds, Teofimo vehemently disagreed with suggestions that his knockout power was diminishing. His explanation completely flips the script on how we should view his recent fights. Teofimo explained that his opponents feel his power early in fights, and it profoundly changes how they approach the rest of the battle. They start hesitating, pausing, visibly doubting themselves, and losing their initial game plan. In Teofimo's mind, that hesitation is what makes things look less explosively dynamic from his end, because he's not getting clean targets to unload on. His recent opponents have been far more cautious than aggressive, which actually proves his point about the power still being there. It's not just a physical weapon anymore, it's become psychological warfare. Fighters know what he's capable of, so they fight scared, and that fear becomes his advantage before he even throws a punch.
Agree with that. I think this is a very tough fight to pick. But for you, right, it seems like every time the odds are stacked against you, every time people are picking against you, whether it's the Lomachenko fight, people said it was too soon for you, or the Josh Taylor fight, when there seems to be chaos swirling around you in your personal life, and that was one of your best performances. Do you like this position?
That I'm someone that, is all about against all odds. I've been like that since me winning the 2015 U.S. Olympic trials and didn't, have my spot for the Olympic berth and to represent Team USA in 2016 Olympic Games. I think my whole thing's always been that way, so even Richard Comey, when I won my first world title back in 2019 at 22 against the champion himself, a lot of the odds were always against me, and I think that's when I performed my best, and I look forward to doing that again.
And here's where Teofimo really showed his true colors and revealed something fascinating about his competitive spirit. When the topic of Shakur being the betting favorite came up, Teofimo almost looked amused. Not frustrated or angry, but genuinely entertained by the doubt. He actually likes being the underdog because that's when he performs at his absolute peak. He brilliantly tied this back to pivotal moments in his career when pundits claimed it was too soon for him to face certain opponents, or that his career was too chaotic for him to pull it together. Those were consistently the nights he performed his absolute best, defying expectations and silencing critics with spectacular performances. Being counted out isn't new territory for Teofimo Lopez, it's practically familiar ground. He doesn't perceive it as crushing pressure. Instead, he skillfully transforms that doubt into pure fuel, powering his performance and igniting his determination. And honestly, that makes him more dangerous than any trash talk ever could.
Define the odds, man. Everybody be on that side. I think that they all have like some sort of group plan amongst each other. Even with Keyshawn Davis, you know, they all think that they're gonna conquer boxing as friends. I don't think there's friends in this sport. I think Malik Scott would also agree to me on that part. I don't think this should be friends. This is a fight business. This is not about, hey, I want you to conquer this division, I'll conquer that division, we'll all be friends and we'll be champions. This is not the Klitschko brothers era. You know, so whatever Crawford and Shakur want to do, Crawford ain't going to be fighting for Shakur. It'll be Shakur in the ring with Teofimo.
But here's something that really caught my attention about Teofimo's mentality. When confronted with the whole friends in boxing debate, especially regarding Terrence Crawford being in Shakur's corner, Teofimo just shrugged it off with remarkable detachment. His logic was simple and cutting ultimately. No one else steps into that ring to fight except the fighter himself. He made it clear that he holds no belief in alliances or group runs in boxing. For Teofimo, this isn't a team sport. This brutal, beautiful game is about standing alone, being completely self-reliant, and proving your worth when it matters most. Under those bright lights with just you and your opponent, it's a solitary journey. There's something both admirable and slightly terrifying about that level of self-reliance. While other fighters lean on camps and corner support, Teofimo views himself as an army of one.
Pierre said, you know, the twitchiness, that athleticism that Teofimo has is what would give someone like Shakur problems because it throws off his timing.
Yep.
Shakur is flat out amazing. I've watched this kid. He can find anybody's time.
Right.
So if you give him the space with just like feints and stuff like that, he gonna still pick it up and he's still gonna find it. I got a feeling this thing is not going to be boring and dry.
Now let's bring in some expert analysis that'll blow your mind. Sean Porter, a former world champion who knows what it takes to compete at this level, offered an incredibly insightful take that leans toward this being a tough stylistic matchup for Shakur. Porter's reasoning centers on the unique, often erratic way Teofimo moves inside the ring. He specifically highlighted Teofimo's twitchy athleticism, this explosive, unpredictable energy that makes his offensive bursts incredibly hard to anticipate. This isn't your standard, rhythmic boxer who telegraphs his intentions. Porter explained that this type of unpredictable movement has the potential to seriously disrupt Shakur's renowned timing, which is usually his biggest weapon in fights. Here's the crucial point Porter made. Shakur is elite at reading opponents' rhythms and exploiting patterns, but Teofimo doesn't always give you a clean rhythm to read. He's like a broken beat, a chaotic symphony that makes him incredibly difficult to prepare for and react to in real time. It's a puzzle that even someone as skilled as Shakur might find challenging to solve.
I got a feeling, you're right. By nature, Teofimo is a counterpuncher. He's an explosive counterpuncher. He does not know how to punch. He can't really set it up first the way that he can when somebody's coming at him. We already know Shakur ain't gonna have a lot of offense for him. But at the same time...
But here's where Porter's analysis gets really interesting, because he didn't downplay Shakur's abilities at all. In fact, he emphatically stated that Shakur possesses this almost uncanny ability to figure anyone out in the ring, particularly if you give him even the slightest bit of space to operate. It's like he processes information at lightning speed, adapting and downloading opponents' tendencies mid-fight. Porter stressed that mere feints and subtle deceptions simply aren't enough to confuse Shakur for any significant length of time. He sees right through them, quickly discerning true intent from misdirection. And perhaps most exciting for fans, Porter's gut feeling was that this fight absolutely would not devolve into something slow or boring. Because Teofimo Lopez at his core is a naturally explosive fighter, and that inherent desire for action is bound to create fireworks. So while it's a tough stylistic clash, it's one with immense potential for pure entertainment and violence.
I think about it like this. Shakur is an ace of spades, but Teofimo Lopez is a wild card. He's still liable to do anything at any point in time. And I just got a feeling that it's going to be like a Tasmanian, well, like a hyena and a lion. You know, and it's like, is the hyena gonna be able to pounce on the lion enough to get the job done, or is the lion just gonna be able to make his moves?
Here's where Porter really drew a fascinating line between these two elite fighters, their respective personalities inside the ring. He painted Shakur as the embodiment of control and razor-sharp precision, this meticulous craftsman who possesses an almost supernatural understanding of exactly when to execute defensive maneuvers, when to shift his feet, when to initiate movement, and critically, exactly when to unleash devastating strikes. Every action is calculated, deliberate, and purposeful. Teofimo, conversely, was cast as the ultimate wild card. And when Porter says wild card, he means someone absolutely capable of pulling off something completely unexpected at any given moment. He's the unpredictable force, the chaotic genius, making him not only dangerous but incredibly compelling to watch. It's the ultimate clash of calculation versus chaos, chess master versus street fighter, and honestly, that's what makes this fight so D*MN compelling. Let me hit you with more expert opinions that'll make you rethink everything. Greg Hackett, after much deliberation, ultimately leaned toward Shakur winning this bout, but he openly confessed his mind had been a seesaw because he fully acknowledges how dangerous Teofimo can be. In Hackett's professional opinion, Teofimo remains incredibly strong, blindingly fast, explosively powerful, and truly unpredictable, a combination that's exceptionally hard to ignore. Greg even admitted part of him couldn't shake thoughts of moments where Teofimo might catch Shakur with a big shot or overwhelm him with relentless pressure. Yet despite those lingering doubts, he settled on picking Shakur to win by decision because Shakur simply knows how to win rounds and handle high-stakes moments. But here's where Hackett drew a definitive line about what Teofimo needs to do. He absolutely cannot afford to sit back and play a chess-like game with Shakur. Doing so would play directly into Shakur's strengths. Instead, Teofimo must be more aggressive than we've ever seen him, rougher, busier, and ready to unleash sustained combinations instead of loading up for one big punch. Hackett noted that Shakur is notoriously quick to punish mistakes, especially when opponents miss and momentarily pause, leaving themselves exposed. And get this, Jamil Ortiz also chimed in with his prediction, expressing belief that while this is a great stylistic matchup, Shakur will emerge victorious because the styles fit perfectly in his favor. In Ortiz's seasoned opinion, this isn't about hype or big names, it's about who can better control the narrative and flow of the fight. He's convinced Shakur's superior movement and unwavering discipline will provide the decisive edge. When pressed about his own experience fighting Teofimo in the past, Ortiz offered critical insight. Teofimo's fighting style remains fundamentally the same, and from that experience, he confidently asserts that landing clean, impactful punches on a defensive wizard like Shakur will be incredibly difficult. Ortiz recounted that nothing Teofimo did surprised him, and everything unfolded exactly as he prepared for it. That's why he firmly believes Shakur will be exceptionally hard to hit, and unless Teofimo can consistently close distance and trap him, Shakur will control the fight from bell to bell. So when the dust settles and all the analysis is done, what does this epic showdown really come down to? At the end of the day, this fight represents raw pride, impeccable timing, and deep-seated belief in who truly owns that ring. Teofimo sees this as someone audaciously stepping into his territory, attempting to seize what he's built and defended. Shakur perceives this as being underestimated and disrespected, especially when people act like they've already written his story's ending. But once that bell rings and the referee signals for action, none of the trash talk, predictions, or expert analysis will matter. The only thing that will resonate is the truth revealed by violence and skill. We're witnessing two fighters at completely different stages of their careers, one trying to reclaim his throne, another trying to establish his dynasty. Both have everything to prove and everything to lose. This isn't just about winning or losing anymore, it's about legacy, respect, and who gets to call themselves the future of the lightweight division. So here's my question for you. Who do you think takes this monumental clash? Drop your bold prediction in the comments below and tell us exactly how you see this epic battle ending. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really at stake, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because this fight is going to be absolute fireworks and you won't want to miss our post-fight analysis. I'll see you in the next one.